The Victorian age, a time of extravagance, grandeur, and fun. Wait, did I hear you right? Did you say fun? I mean, is typhus, cholera, and hard work fun? I guess you could call it that, but they don't even have cell phones. I mean, how fun could it actually be? Yes, you heard right. They had fun. And if you sit back and enjoy this short film, you'll see how. Okay, I concede. We have a lot more opportunity for fun now. I mean, I can push a button, fire up this computer, play a game. I can click a button on this remote and watch a TV. Or I can even pull out this phone, dial a number, and reconnect with family or friends around the world. I mean, it does feel like we have so much more opportunity for fun now than we ever have in the past. The thing is, I've been looking a lot into simple living. And simple living to me is living pre-technology. And what better way to look into how people lived than the Gilded Age of the Victorian era? And that's what this video is all about. How did people have fun in the Gilded Age? And is it any different than today? By the way, I'm not sponsored by this show, but if you want a really good show about the Gilded Age, you should check out The Gilded Age on HBO Max. It is probably one of the best shows that shows this time period, and I absolutely loved every second of it. But anyway, I digress. To begin with, we should start small. What did people do when they had solo time? And no dirty innuendos, this is a family-friendly show. But what did they do when they were by themselves? By the way, these all may sound familiar. The first thing that people did for fun is to read. Authors such as Robert Louis Stevenson, H.G. Wells, and Bram Stoker all came from this era. The late 1800s, early 1900s was an amazing time for reading. And as such, it's still something that we enjoy today. Another form of entertainment that people had from this time period was writing, correspondence, journals, and just writing for fun, short stories. All great ways to spend your time. Now, what would a Victorian age entertainment be without a collection? This is the part that always made me scratch my head, but I find really cool as it's the root of most of our modern museums. You see, this time period was all about collecting, and not just collecting. People wanted to show off their collections, whether it be coins, stamps, or little trinkets of biology or nature, rock collections, whatnot, that you can show off to your friends and kind of congregate around. And of course, music. You see, if you've read any of the books from this time period or before, you know that a lot of people played the piano or violin. These are common. Even today, people will play the piano or violin to pass the time. And it really is an amazing pastime. Now, what about small groups, your informal parties, if you will? Your informal parties usually involved parlor games, whether it be dominoes or playing cards, or those fun little party games that we used to play when we were in elementary school that we don't really play anymore. But the good get-to-know-you icebreaker, just fun games. The thing that I like about the games from this time period, though, it's all about being together as part of the community. I think that's amazing. It's something that is just missing in today's age. Other events of an informal nature is going to sports. Most of the major soccer teams in England were formed around this time. Most of the major baseball teams in America were formed around this time. These pastimes were great ways for everybody, no matter what class you were born into, to go out and have a good time. The key in today's society is you have to actually go and be a part of them. You can't just watch passively on TV. Now, some of the most popular sports of the age were cricket, football, both English and American, depending on which side of the pond you're on, and rugby. These all drew crowds on the weekend where people could go and have an informal get-together. Some other common games from this era that were widely enjoyed no matter the class include billiards, croquet, tennis, chess, and checkers. And a little known fact, the game Snakes and Ladders actually comes from this time period. And I know I've played a lot of that. Now on to the most important, the formal gathering. You see, this was the epitome of the Gilded Age, the epitome of the Victorian era. And this is when people would throw parties that were meant to be talked about for weeks, or at least until the next party comes. Think Gossip Girl, think Bridgerton, think grand ballrooms and ball gowns parties. There was a high etiquette that required, and I find it kind of interesting. Most of these parties had strict dress codes. You couldn't just show up in your day-to-day workwear. You had to dress to the nines. Most of the time, you had to dress within a certain theme, whether it's masquerade or summer ball or whatnot. There were certain things that you had to wear at certain times. And it's funny, most of these style etiquettes actually carry on to modern living. Like, calling cards would have to be handwritten by the hostess to be passed in with the invitations, so that as you arrived at this formal gathering, you would give them the calling card to be announced in. I have never been to a party like that, but it does sound kind of fun, does it not? Each party had to be themed, and each party had to be catered according to the theme. And these catered events included not only food and drink and cocktails and everything that is consumed, but also everything that is consumed by your eyes and your ears, with decorations that match the theme, as well as orchestras, four-piece orchestras, or chamber orchestras that would be there to provide the entertainment along the theme. I'm talking Marie Antoinette style strangeness, even though that's a different era. Now, the goal of these parties was mostly to be the talk of the town. You wanted to make sure that the most important people in your neighborhood came to your party and didn't go to anybody else's. And that would signify whether you made it in society. A single person showing up or not showing up could make or break your social calendar for the rest of the season. And so these parties were not just a way to have fun and entertain. They were also very stressful for the hosts. And you would always hope that you were invited to the best one and didn't have to settle for one of the lesser parties. Now, I know this sounds all very extravagant, very much like it's the elite, but these type of social interactions actually kind of trickled down amongst the classes, all the way down to the working class. Although not as extravagant, those of a lower stature still did these events just in hopes of possibly rising up through the social ranks. Maybe you meet the right connection, you go from working third shift to working second shift or whatnot. But they were also a way for people of lower stature to have just as much fun. Now, I don't know about you, but most of these events I kind of enjoy. I don't know if bringing back ballrooms and having neighborhood masquerade balls is the right way to go. But when you think about it, we all are striving for connection. There's a reason why so many people are on social media and so many people are creating videos like this. We want that human connection. What better way to find human connection than to go to a sporting event together? To go see some music, some live music together. To take these ideals of the Victorian age and apply them to our lives in such a way that we can grow closer to each other as a community without depending on our technology. So yes, even though we have so many opportunities for leisure in our life, maybe it's time to put the technology aside and find enjoyment and fun the way we did 200 years ago. We'll see you next time.